Park Tae-ho wiped the sweat from his forehead and checked his work one more time. The air recycling unit was finally fixed. It had taken him 3 hours to find the problem, but now fresh air would flow through Deck 7 again. He packed his tools and started walking back to the engineering bay. Horizon Gate was a busy place. The space station floated at the edge of human territory, where dozens of alien species came to trade and talk. Tae-ho had worked here for 2 years. He liked the job. He liked fixing things. What he did not like was how lonely it felt sometimes. Humans were not rare on the station, but they were not common either. Most of his co-workers were aliens of different kinds. They were friendly enough, but it was not the same as having human friends. He missed easy conversations. He missed jokes that people actually understood. His communicator beeped. A message from Yoon Hana appeared on the screen. "Don't forget about tonight. Cultural exchange event you promised." Tae-ho groaned. He had hoped she would forget about that. Hana was his only close human friend on the station, and she never let him break a promise. He typed back, "Do I really have to go?" Her reply came fast. "Yes. Stop hiding in maintenance tunnels. Meet me at the Grand Hall at 7. Tae-ho sighed. He was not good at formal events. He never knew what to say to important people. But Hana was right. He spent too much time alone. At 7 o'clock, he stood at the entrance of the Grand Hall. He had changed into his cleanest uniform. He had even combed his hair. Hana appeared beside him, smiling. "You look almost presentable," she said. "Thanks for the confidence," he replied. The Grand Hall was full of beings from many worlds. Tae-ho saw tall insectoid creatures talking to short furry mammals. He saw beings made of light standing next to beings made of stone. In one corner, a group of humans chatted with reptilian traders. The noise of dozens of languages filled the air, all translated by the station's systems. "Tonight we have a special group," Hana said. "The Velrani. They don't visit often. Very private species." Tae-ho looked where she pointed. He saw a group of humanoid aliens with silver-blue skin. Their skin had patterns that glowed softly, like gentle lights under the surface. They were beautiful in a strange way. "They're here for trade negotiations," Hana continued, "and apparently they're curious about humans. So be nice." "I'm always nice," Tae-ho said. Hana laughed. "You're always awkward. Try to be less awkward tonight." She disappeared into the crowd to talk to someone she knew. Tae-ho was left alone. He found a corner and stood there, holding a drink he did not really want. He watched the aliens move around the room. Everyone seemed to know what to do except him. Then he noticed 2 Velrani walking toward him. They were identical. Same height, same silver-blue skin, same glowing patterns. Twins. The only difference he could see was the color of their glow. One had patterns that shone blue-white. The other had patterns with a warmer golden tone. "Hello," said the one with blue-white patterns. Her voice was calm and serious. "You are human." It was not a question, but Tae-ho nodded anyway. "Yes, I'm Park Tae-ho. I work in engineering." "I am Nira," she said. "This is my sister Kira." Kira smiled. Her smile was warmer than her sister's expression. "We wanted to meet a human. We have read about your species, but reading is not the same as meeting." "That's true," Tae-ho said. He tried to think of something interesting to say. Nothing came to him. "Your work is in engineering," Nira said. "What do you repair?" "Environmental systems mostly. Air, water, temperature, things that keep people alive." Kira's eyes lit up. "So you are a life keeper. That is important work." Tae-ho had never thought of it that way. "I guess so. I just fix machines." The sisters looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them. Then Nira turned back to him. "We have a question," she said. "It is personal. Do you have a bonded partner?" Tae-ho blinked. He was not sure what a bonded partner meant, but he could guess. You mean like a wife? Or a girlfriend? Yes, a life companion. Taeho laughed. It was his nervous laugh, the one that came out when he felt awkward. No, I'm single. Tragically, hopelessly single. He meant it as a joke. He always made jokes when he was uncomfortable. It was his worst habit. But the sisters did not laugh. They looked at each other again. Something changed in their expressions. Kira's smile grew wider. Even Nira's serious face softened. That is most fortunate, Kira said. Fortunate indeed, Nira agreed. Taeho did not understand why his loneliness was fortunate. Before he could ask, a chime sounded through the hall. The event was moving to the next activity. We must go, Nira said. But we will see you again, Park Taeho. Soon, Kira added. The way she said it sounded like a promise. They walked away, and Taeho stood there feeling confused. What had just happened? He had answered a simple question. Why did they seem so pleased? Hana found him a few minutes later. I saw you talking to the Velrani twins. How did it go? Strange, Taeho said. They asked if I was single. Hana raised an eyebrow. What did you say? I said yes, made a dumb joke about it. Hana stared at him. Then she started laughing. She laughed so hard that people nearby turned to look. What? Taeho asked. What's so funny? Nothing, Hana said, but she was still laughing. Nothing at all. Good luck, Taeho. Good luck with what? She just shook her head and walked away, still laughing. Taeho went back to his quarters that night feeling more confused than ever. He took a shower, changed his clothes, and sat down to read. But he could not focus. He kept thinking about the twins and their strange reaction. His communicator beeped. A message from Hana. Hey, quick question. Why are two Velrani asking me about your favorite foods? Taeho read the message 3 times. It did not make more sense the 3rd time. He typed back, What are you talking about? Nira and Kira, they found me after the event. They wanted to know what foods you like, what drinks you prefer, what colors make you happy. I thought you just had a short conversation. Taeho felt his stomach drop. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. Hana, what did I do? Her reply took a long time. When it came, it was only 3 words. I'll find out. Taeho put down his communicator. He lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling. He had a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. He had made a joke. Just a stupid, nervous joke. So why did it feel like his whole life was about to change? The next morning, Taeho found a small box outside his door. Inside was a crystal. It was deep blue and glowed faintly from within. He had never seen anything like it. There was no note, no explanation. He took it to work with him, planning to ask Hana about it. But when he reached his workstation, he found another gift. A basket of fruits he did not recognize sat on his desk. They smelled sweet and looked expensive. What is this? He asked the empty room. His co-worker, a 4-armed Tellian named Brox, walked past and stopped to look. Those are Velrani moon fruits, Brox said. Very rare, very valuable. Someone likes you. Taeho's bad feeling from last night grew worse. By lunch, he had received 3 more gifts. A bottle of some kind of drink, a small device that played soft music, a piece of cloth that changed colors when he touched it. All of them appeared without warning. All of them had no sender name. He called Hana. Please tell me you found something. I did, she said. Her voice was strange, like she was trying not to laugh again. Meet me in the observation lounge. You need to sit down for this. Taeho rushed to the lounge. Hana was already there, sitting by the window with a tablet in her hands. The stars outside were beautiful, but he could not enjoy them. He sat across from her and waited. So, Hana began, I did some research on Velrani customs. specifically their courtship rituals. Courtship. Taeho felt his face go pale. Yes, courtship. It turns out that when a Velrani asks if someone is available for bonding, and that person confirms they are single, it means something very specific. What does it mean? Hana looked at him with a mix of sympathy and amusement. It means you accepted their courtship invitation, officially. Taeho could not speak. His mouth opened, but no words came out. In Velrani culture, these things are very formal, Hana continued. They don't ask that question casually. When they asked if you had a bonded partner and you said you were single, you basically told them you were open to being courted. By them, specifically. But I didn't know that, Taeho finally managed to say. It was a joke. They don't really have jokes about these matters. For them, bonding is sacred. You announced your availability, and they announced their interest by calling it fortunate. In their eyes, the courtship has officially begun. Taeho put his head in his hands. This can't be happening. It gets more interesting, Hana said. Nira and Kira are twins, and in Velrani culture, twins share a bond that cannot be separated. When they court someone, they court them together, both of them, as a unit. Both of them? Both of them. If you bond with one, you bond with both. It's called a triangle bond. Very sacred, very serious. Taeho lifted his head. Hana, I need to fix this. I need to tell them it was a mistake. You can try, but be careful. Breaking a courtship is a big insult in their culture. It could cause problems between humans and Velrani. A diplomatic incident. Because of a joke, Taeho wanted to disappear. That evening, he received a formal message on his communicator. Nira and Kira requested to meet him in the station gardens. He thought about ignoring it. He thought about hiding in his quarters forever. But he knew that would only make things worse. He went to the gardens. The station gardens were one of the most beautiful places on Horizon Gate. Plants from dozens of worlds grew there, filling the air with colors and scents that did not exist on Earth. Taeho found the twins waiting for him near a fountain. They wore elegant robes that shimmered as they moved. Park Taeho, Nira said. Thank you for coming. We have been thinking about you all day, Kira added. Her golden patterns glowed brighter when she smiled. Taeho took a deep breath. I need to tell you something. I think there was a misunderstanding. The sisters looked at each other, then back at him. When you asked if I was single, I said yes, because I was nervous. I made a joke. In human culture, we joke about things like that. I didn't know what it meant to you. Silence. The fountain bubbled quietly beside them. Nira spoke first. You are saying you did not intend to accept our courtship? I didn't know I was accepting anything. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect your customs. Kira's glow dimmed a little. She looked hurt. You do not wish to know us? That's not what I'm saying. You both seem very nice, but this is all happening so fast. I don't even know you. Another silence. Taeho felt terrible. He could see the pain in their eyes. Then Nira straightened her posture. Her expression became determined. In our culture, a courtship cannot be broken simply because one party is uncertain. That would be too easy, too careless. Kira nodded, recovering her composure. If you truly do not wish to bond with us, you must know us first. You must understand who we are. Only then can you make a true decision. Taeho was confused. What do you mean? We will not release you from this courtship, Nira said. Not yet. Not until you have given us a fair chance. We will show you who we are, Kira said. We will teach you about our people, our ways, our hearts, and you will teach us about humans. And after that? Taeho asked. After that, you may choose. If you still wish to end the courtship, we will accept it. But you must choose with knowledge, not ignorance. Taeho did not know what to say. Part of him wanted to argue. This was not how things worked in human culture. You could not force someone to date you. But another part of him understood. He had made a mistake that meant something important to them. The least he could do was take it seriously. "How long?" he asked. "1 month," Nira said. "Give us 1 month. Meet with us. Talk with us. Learn about us." "1 month is not so long," Kira said, "and we promise to make it interesting." Tejo looked at them, 2 beautiful alien women who wanted a chance to win his heart. It was strange. It was complicated. It was not what he had planned for his life. But when he looked at Kira's hopeful smile and Nira's determined eyes, he could not say no. 1 month, he agreed. "But I'm not promising anything." Kira clapped her hands, her glow brightening again. "That is all we ask." Nira nodded. "You will not regret this, Park Tejo." They said goodbye and left him alone in the garden. Tejo stood by the fountain, listening to the water and wondering what he had gotten himself into. His communicator beeped, a message from Hana. "So? How did it go?" He typed back, "I have 1 month to decide if I want to marry 2 alien women." Her reply came with a laughing emoji. "Only you, Tejo. Only you." He put the communicator away and looked up at the artificial sky of the garden. The stars were painted there, not real, but still beautiful. 1 month, 30 days to understand 2 people from another world. He had a feeling it would be the longest month of his life. The first week of the courtship was awkward. Tejo did not know how to act around the twins. Should he be formal, casual, romantic? He had never dated 1 woman before, let alone 2 alien sisters at the same time. Kira was the first to make a move. She sent him a message on the 3rd day. "Meet me at the observation deck tonight. I want to show you something." Tejo almost said no, but he had made a promise. 1 month. He had to try. The observation deck was empty when he arrived. Kira stood by the large window looking out at the stars. Her golden patterns glowed softly in the dim light. She turned when she heard him approach. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I was not sure you would." "I said I would give you a chance," Tejo replied. "I keep my promises." Kira smiled. "That is good. Humans who keep promises are rare. Or so I have heard." They stood together by the window. The view was beautiful. Stars filled the darkness like scattered diamonds. In the distance, a nebula glowed purple and pink. "Do you know why I wanted to meet here?" Kira asked. "To look at stars?" "Yes, but not just to look." She pointed out the window. "Do you see that yellow star, the small one near the nebula?" Tejo looked. He found it. "I see it. That is where our homeworld used to be." He turned to her, surprised. "Used to be?" Kira's glow dimmed slightly. "Our world was destroyed many generations ago. A disaster we could not prevent. Our people scattered across the galaxy. We have been wanderers ever since." Tejo did not know what to say. "I'm sorry. It was long before I was born, but we still remember. Every Velrani child learns to find that star in the sky. We look at it and remember what we lost." She was quiet for a moment. Then she continued. "That is why bonding is so important to us. We lost our home. We lost our land, our cities, our history. The only thing we have left is each other. Family, bonds, these things cannot be destroyed by disaster." Tejo understood now why his joke had hurt them. To him, being single was just a fact about his life. To them, being without bonds was like being without a home. "Humans lost their original home too," he said. "In a way." Kira looked at him with curiosity. "What do you mean?" "We came from Earth, but now we live everywhere. Stations, colonies, ships. Most humans alive today have never even visited Earth. We are wanderers too." Kira's glow brightened. "Yes. I have read this about humans. You spread across the stars very quickly, faster than any other species. We don't like staying in one place. But you still feel lonely. It was not a question. I saw it in you at the event. You were alone in a room full of people. Taeho was surprised by her observation. How did you know? Because I know that feeling. I have felt it my whole life. My people are survivors, but we are always strangers, always guests on other people's worlds. She looked at him with warm eyes. When I saw you standing alone, making jokes no one understood, I thought, he knows what it means to be far from home. Taeho felt something shift in his chest. He had never thought of it that way. He made jokes because he was uncomfortable, but maybe there was more to it. Maybe he was also trying to connect. Your jokes are strange, Kira said, but I like them. They make me laugh. Most people don't laugh at my jokes. Then most people are missing something good. They talked for another hour. Kira told him about growing up on different stations, always moving, always adapting. Taeho told her about his childhood on a human colony, about leaving home to work in space, about the loneliness he tried to hide. When they said goodnight, Kira touched his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth. Thank you for listening, she said. I hope you will listen to my sister too. She has much to share. The next day, Nira found him during his work shift. She appeared at his workstation without warning, watching him repair a water filter. You are very focused, she said. Taeho jumped. He had not heard her approach. You scared me. I apologize. I wanted to observe you working. Why? I am a scientist. I study how species create homes in space. Environmental systems are very important to this. Taeho relaxed a little. This was something he could talk about. What do you study exactly? Adaptation. How beings adjust to artificial environments. How they make cold metal feel like home. She gestured at his tools. You maintain the systems that keep everyone alive. That is fascinating to me. They talked about his work. Taeho explained how air recycling worked, how water was purified, how temperature was controlled. Nira asked intelligent questions. She understood technical concepts quickly. Your work is more important than most people realize, she said. I just fix machines. No, you maintain the conditions for life. Without you, this station would be a tomb. Taeho had never heard anyone describe his job that way. It made him feel proud. Can I ask you something? He said. Nira nodded. Why twin bonding? Why do Velrani twins share a partner? Nira was quiet for a moment. Then she answered. Our population is small. After our homeworld was destroyed, we lost many people. Twins are rare and precious. We believe they share one soul in two bodies. To separate them would be to break that soul. So you and Kira are one soul? In a way, we feel what the other feels. We know what the other knows. We cannot be apart for long without feeling incomplete. Taeho thought about this. It was so different from human culture. Humans valued independence. The idea of being that connected to another person was strange to him, but also beautiful. You and Kira are very different, he said, even though you're twins. Nira almost smiled. Yes, she is the heart. I am the mind. Together we are whole. Which one am I supposed to fall for? This time, Nira did smile. It changed her whole face. Both. That is the point. That night, Taeho met Hana for dinner. He told her about his conversations with both sisters. So let me understand, Hana said. You spent last night with Kira talking about feelings and loneliness, and today Nira talked to you about science and work. Yes. And you enjoyed both conversations? Taeho paused. He had enjoyed them, more than he expected. They're very different, he said, but both interesting. Hana leaned forward. Taeho, do you realize what's happening? What? You're starting to like them. Teho wanted to deny it. But Hana knew him too well. He could not lie to her. Maybe, he admitted. A little. Hana sat back and smiled. So what's the problem? Teho stared at his food. What was the problem? Two beautiful, intelligent women wanted to be with him. They were kind and interesting. They made him feel less alone. The problem, he said slowly, is that I actually like them. And that scares me. Hana reached across the table and patted his hand. Good, she said. Fear means you care. And caring is the first step to something real. Teho looked at his friend. She was right. He was scared because this was starting to matter. The month was only 1 week old, and already everything was different. He thought about Kira's laugh and Nira's smile. He thought about shared loneliness and created homes. Maybe this strange courtship was not such a bad thing after all. 2 weeks into the courtship, everything changed. Teho was eating breakfast in his quarters when his communicator buzzed with an urgent message from Kira. Our grandmother is coming. She arrives tomorrow. He typed back, Is that bad? The reply took a moment. She must approve any bonding, especially with an outsider. She is traditional. Teho felt his stomach tighten. Just when he was starting to enjoy the courtship, a new challenge appeared. He met with both sisters that afternoon. They explained the situation. Elder Villani is the matriarch of our family, Nira said. She has lived for 300 years. She remembers the destruction of our homeworld. She is wise and kind, Kira added, but she is also protective. She does not trust easily. What does she think about humans? Teho asked. The sisters looked at each other. That look told him everything. She has concerns, Nira said carefully. She believes humans are not serious about bonds, that you form connections easily and break them just as easily. She thinks we'll get divorced, Teho translated. She thinks you will leave us, Kira said softly. That one day you will decide this bond is too strange, too alien, and you will walk away. Teho did not know how to respond. He understood the fear. Humans did have a reputation for being changeable, and honestly, he had his own doubts about whether this could work. What do I need to do? He asked. She will test you, Nira said. 3 challenges. If you pass, she will approve the courtship to continue. If you fail, we must return home with her, Kira finished, and the courtship ends. Teho spent that night unable to sleep. He lay in bed thinking about the twins, about Kira's laugh and Nira's rare smiles, about conversations that made him feel less alone. He did not want them to leave. The realization surprised him. 2 weeks ago, he wanted out of this courtship. Now the thought of losing them made his chest hurt. Elder Villani arrived the next day. She was smaller than Teho expected. Her silver-blue skin was darker than her granddaughter's, and her bioluminescent patterns were faint with age. But her eyes were sharp and clear. They seemed to look right through him. So, she said when they met, you are the human. Yes, Elder, I am Park Teho. She walked around him slowly, examining him like a specimen. My granddaughters speak highly of you. They say you are kind and funny. I try to be. Trying is not the same as being. She stopped in front of him. I have known many species in my long life. Humans are strange. You feel deeply but commit poorly. You love quickly but forget faster. Teho wanted to argue, but he held his tongue. She was not entirely wrong. I will give you 3 tests, Elder Villani continued. Each one represents a value sacred to our people. If you pass all 3, I will allow this courtship to continue. If you fail even one, my granddaughters come home with me. I understand. Do you? Do you understand what you would be taking from them if you fail? Do you understand what you would be taking from yourself? Taeho looked at Nira and Kira standing behind their grandmother. Their faces were worried but hopeful. I understand, he said again. I'm ready. The first test came that evening. Memory, Elder Villani announced. A bond requires attention. If you do not notice your partner, you cannot know them. If you do not know them, you cannot love them. She led him to a private room. Nira and Kira were not allowed to join. I will ask you questions about my granddaughters. You will answer from memory. You may not guess. If you do not know, you must say so. Taeho nodded. His heart was beating fast. What is Kira's favorite place on this station? The observation deck, Taeho answered. She likes to look at the stars, especially the yellow one where your homeworld used to be. Elder Villani's expression did not change. What does Nira study? Adaptation. How species create homes in artificial environments. What did Kira say about your jokes? Taeho thought back to their conversation. She said she likes them, that most people are missing something good if they don't laugh. What did Nira say about her relationship with her sister? She said Kira is the heart and she is the mind. Together they are whole. The questions continued. Some were easy, some were harder, but Taeho found that he remembered more than he expected. He had been paying attention during their conversations. He had been listening. Finally, Elder Villani stopped. You passed the first test, she said. You have seen my granddaughters. Many suitors only see themselves. Taeho let out a breath he did not know he was holding. Do not celebrate yet, Elder Villani warned. The second test is harder. The second test came the next morning. Sacrifice, Elder Villani said. A bond requires giving, not just time, not just attention, but things that matter to you. What will you give up for my granddaughters? Taeho thought about this. What did he have? He was not rich. He did not own much. His life fit in a small quarters on a space station. But there was one thing. My shuttle, he said. Elder Villani raised an eyebrow. Explain. I own a personal shuttle. It's small and old, but it's mine. I bought it with 5 years of savings. It's the only way I can visit Earth. The only connection I have to my home. And you would give this up? Taeho nodded. If it means proving I'm serious about this bond. Elder Villani studied him for a long moment. Objects can be replaced, she said. What else do humans value? Taeho was confused. I don't understand. Your shuttle is valuable because of what it represents, connection to home. But there are other things humans value that cannot be replaced. I want to know if you understand what those are. She turned and walked away, leaving him with the question. That night Taeho sat alone in his quarters thinking. What did humans value that could not be replaced? Family, friends, time, love. His shuttle was a thing, a valuable thing, but still just a thing. If Elder Villani wanted to know what he would truly sacrifice, he needed a better answer. He just did not know what it was yet. The third test was still coming. The hardest one, Nira had said. The test of truth. Taeho knew he would have to face it soon. He knew he would have to open his heart and speak without hiding behind jokes or deflection, and that terrified him more than anything. He looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth. Somewhere out there was the past he had left behind. But here on this station were Nira and Kira. Here was a possible future. He just had to prove he was worthy of it. The third test came on the third day of Elder Villani's visit. Truth, she said. The final and most important test. Taeho stood before her in the station gardens. Nira and Kira were present this time, standing behind their grandmother. The fountain bubbled softly beside them. A bond cannot survive on memory alone, Elder Villani said. It cannot survive on sacrifice alone. It must be built on truth, complete, honest truth. Teho nodded. He knew this test would be the hardest. I will ask you one question, Elder Villani continued. You will answer without humor, without deflection, without hiding. You will speak from your heart. If I sense any falseness, you will fail. I understand. Good. She folded her hands in front of her. Why do you want this bond? Teho opened his mouth to answer. Then he closed it. He had expected a hard question, but not this one. This one required him to look inside himself and say what he found, and he was not sure he knew the answer. Take your time, Elder Villani said, but not too much time. Truth should not require too much thinking. Teho looked at Nira and Kira. Their eyes were on him, hopeful, worried, loving. Yes, he could see it now. They loved him. After only a few weeks, they had opened their hearts to him. They had shown him who they were. They had trusted him. Now it was his turn. I was scared, he began. His voice was quiet. When I first came to this station, I told myself I was fine being alone. I made jokes so people would think I was happy. I kept everyone at a distance so they couldn't hurt me. Elder Villani listened without expression. When your granddaughters approached me at the event, I panicked. I didn't know what to say, so I made a joke. That's what I always do. Hide behind humor. He took a breath. But then something changed. What changed? Elder Villani asked. They didn't let me hide. They saw through my jokes. They kept coming back. And the more time I spent with them, the more I realized... He paused, searching for words. I realized I wasn't fine being alone. I was just scared of being known. He looked at Kira. Kira showed me that loneliness isn't weakness. That feeling far from home is something we all share. She made me feel like my jokes weren't stupid, like my strangeness was okay. He looked at Nira. Nira showed me that my work matters, that keeping people alive is important, even if no one notices. She made me feel seen. He turned back to Elder Villani. I'm not asking for this bond because of your customs. I'm not asking because I made a mistake with a joke and feel obligated to fix it. I'm asking because... His voice caught. He pushed through. Because when I'm with them, I'm not just surviving in space. I'm home. Silence filled the garden. Only the fountain made sound. Elder Villani's face remained unreadable. Teho couldn't tell if he had passed or failed. Then she spoke. Humans live short lives. Teho blinked at the change of subject. Yes. My granddaughters will live 300 years or more. You will live perhaps 100 if you are lucky. Have you thought about this? He had. The thought had kept him awake several nights. I have. And you still want this bond? Knowing you will leave them? Knowing they will grieve you for centuries? Teho felt the weight of the question. It was not fair to Nira and Kira. He would grow old and die while they were still young. He would leave them alone. But then he thought about what Kira had said about her people. They had lost their home world. They had lost everything except each other. And they kept going. They kept loving. Every species knows time runs out, Teho said. Humans more than most. We don't live long enough to waste time being scared. Every day matters. Every moment matters. He straightened his shoulders. I can't promise to live forever, but I can promise that every day I'm alive, I will love them completely. No holding back, no hiding. Elder Villani stared at him for a long time. Then she did something Teho did not expect. She smiled. That, she said, is what I wanted to hear. Kira let out a small cry of joy. Even Nira's stern expression broke into relief. You pass, Park Teho, Elder Villani said. You have shown memory, sacrifice, and truth. But more than that, you have shown that you understand what a bond truly means. Teho felt weak with relief. Thank you, Elder. Do not thank me yet. Her smile faded slightly. I have one more thing to say. He waited. I approve this courtship to continue, but the final decision is not mine. She looked at her granddaughters. It is theirs. Nira and Kira stepped forward. My granddaughters must choose to bond with you freely, Elder Villani said, with full knowledge of what it means to bond with a human, the short life, the grief that will follow. They must decide if you are worth that pain. Tae-ho looked at the twins. This whole time, he had been worried about whether he wanted this bond. He had not thought enough about what they were giving up. I will leave you to discuss, Elder Villani said. She touched Tae-ho's arm as she passed. You are a good man, strange, but good. Then she was gone, and Tai-ho was alone with Nira and Kira. You did well, Kira said. Her eyes were bright with unshed tears. You spoke from your heart, Nira added. That is not easy for you. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, Tae-ho admitted. They stood together in silence. The moment felt important, heavy. We need to discuss, Nira said, as our grandmother said. But we want you to know something first. Kira took his hand. Her cool skin felt familiar now, comforting. Whatever we decide, she said, we are grateful. For these weeks, for your honesty, for giving us a chance even when you didn't have to. Tae-ho squeezed her hand. You gave me a chance too. You didn't have to keep trying after I explained about the joke. We knew you were worth trying for, Nira said. Almost a smile touched her lips. Even if your jokes are terrible. Tae-ho laughed. It felt good to laugh. We will talk, Kira said, and then we will tell you our decision. When? Tomorrow. Meet us here at sunset. They left him alone in the garden. Tae-ho sat by the fountain and watched the artificial sky slowly shift from blue to orange. Tomorrow he would know. Tomorrow everything would change. He thought about what he had said to Elder Villani. Every day matters. Every moment matters. He believed that. He had to believe that. Because if Nira and Kira chose to bond with him, he would spend every moment proving he was worthy of their choice. And if they chose to leave, he would spend the rest of his life remembering these weeks as the time he finally stopped hiding. Either way, he was not the same person he had been before. Either way, his joke had changed everything. The day of the decision was the longest day of Tae-ho's life. He could not focus on his work. He made mistakes he never made. He checked his communicator 100 times, hoping for a message that did not come. Ha-na found him in the engineering bay, staring at a panel he had already fixed twice. You're a mess, she said. Thank you for noticing. She sat next to him. What are you most afraid of? Tae-ho thought about it. That they'll say no, that I'll lose them. And if they say yes? He paused. That fear was there too, but he hadn't looked at it closely. If they say yes, then it's real. Then I have to be a good partner, for years, for the rest of my life. He looked at his hands. What if I'm not good enough? Hana put a hand on his shoulder. Tai-ho, you've been alone for 2 years. You've convinced yourself you're not good at relationships, but look at what you've done in 3 weeks. You passed tests that were designed to make you fail. You spoke from your heart when you hate doing that. You made 2 aliens fall in love with you by just being yourself. I don't know if they love me. Trust me. They do. Hana smiled. The question is, do you love them? Tae-ho didn't answer. He didn't need to. They both knew. While Tae-ho waited, the twins were in their quarters talking. Kira sat by the window, watching ships come and go from the station. Her patterns glowed gold with emotion. I want to say yes, she said. I knew I wanted to say yes from the first week. Nira sat at the table, her hands folded in front of her. Her patterns glowed cooler, steadier. I want to say yes too, but I am scared. Kira turned to her sister. Scared of what? Losing him. You heard, grandmother. Humans live such short lives. We will have him for maybe 70 years if we are lucky. Then we will live 200 more years without him. So we should reject him to avoid future pain? Kira asked. That doesn't sound like living. That sounds like hiding. Nira looked at her. You sound like him. Maybe that's why I love him. Nira was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood and walked to the window beside her sister. When we lost our homeworld, she said, our ancestors could have given up. They could have decided that building a new life was too painful because it might be destroyed again. But they didn't. They kept building. They kept loving. They kept creating bonds even though they knew loss would come. Kira nodded. That's who we are. Yes, that's who we are. Nira took a breath. And Taiho is worth the grief. Kira smiled and took her sister's hand. So we agree? We agree. Across the station, Taiho was not the only one thinking about the decision. Elder Villani sat in her temporary quarters, sipping tea and remembering. She remembered her own bonding, 300 years ago. Her partner had been brave and kind and had died in the disaster that destroyed their world. She remembered the grief, the centuries of loneliness that followed. But she also remembered the love, the joy, the feeling of being truly known by another being. Would she give up those years of happiness to avoid the grief? Never. Not for anything. Her granddaughters understood this. She had seen it in their eyes when they looked at the human. They were ready to love completely, knowing it would end in pain. That was courage. That was the Velrani way. And the human understood it too. She had heard it in his words during the test. Every day matters. Every moment matters. Humans were strange. They lived such short lives, and yet they loved so fiercely. Maybe because they knew time was short, they didn't waste it. Her people could learn something from that. Sunset came. Taiho walked to the garden with shaking hands and a dry mouth. The artificial sky glowed orange and pink. The fountain sparkled in the fading light. Nira and Kira were waiting for him. They stood together, hands clasped, their patterns glowing in harmony. Kira's gold and Nira's silver blue pulsed in the same rhythm. Taiho stopped in front of them. He couldn't read their expressions. He didn't know what they would say. We have made our decision, Nira said. Taiho nodded. His throat was too tight to speak. Kira stepped forward. Before we tell you, we need to ask you something. Anything. Do you understand what you would be giving us? Kira asked. Not just love, not just companionship, but a home, a place to belong. After generations of wandering, you would be our anchor. Taiho thought about this. He had been so focused on what he would get from this bond. He had not fully considered what he would be giving. I understand, he said, and I want to be that for you. Both of you. Nira stepped forward to stand beside her sister. And do you understand what we would be giving you? What? We would be giving you everything. Our whole hearts. Our whole future. We don't do anything halfway. When we bond, it is complete. There is no part of us we hold back. Taiho looked at them. Two beautiful, brave, incredible women who were offering him everything. I understand, he said, and I'll give you everything in return. I promise. The sisters looked at each other. Then they looked back at him. We choose you, Kira said. We choose this bond, Nira said. We choose to love you for as long as we live, even after you are gone. Taiho felt tears in his eyes. He didn't try to hide them. Thank you, he said. His voice broke. Thank you for choosing me. Kira laughed, her joyful laugh that he had come to love. She threw her arms around him. A moment later, Nira joined the embrace. They stood together in the fading light, three beings from different worlds, choosing to become a family. "There is one more thing," Nira said when they finally separated. "What?" "We have a request." Tejo wiped his eyes. "Name it." "We want you to teach other Velrani about humans. Help our people understand that short lives are not less meaningful, that your way of loving is not worse than ours, just different." Tejo was surprised. "You want me to be a teacher?" "A bridge," Kira said, "between our peoples, so that others can find what we have found." It was a big request. It would mean work, responsibility, stepping outside his comfortable life as an engineer. But when he looked at Nira and Kira, he knew he would do anything for them. "Yes," he said, "I'll do it." They smiled at him, both of them. Nira's rare smile and Kira's bright one. "Then it is settled," Nira said. "We will bond." "We will be family," Kira said. "We will be home," Tejo said. Above them, the artificial sky faded to night, and the stars came out. Somewhere among them was Earth, his old home. And somewhere among them was the yellow star where the Velrani homeworld had been. But here, in this garden, with these two women, he had found something better than a place. He had found where he belonged. The bonding ceremony was held 2 weeks later in the grand hall of Horizon Gate. Tejo stood in the center of the room, wearing formal clothes that Hana had helped him choose. He felt nervous, but it was a good kind of nervous, the kind that came before something wonderful. The hall was full of guests. Humans and Velrani sat together, along with other species from the station. Captain Shin Dong-woo had even come to represent the station's leadership. Everyone wanted to see the first human-Velrani bond in history. Hana stood beside Tejo as his witness. She kept grinning at him. "Stop smiling," he whispered. "Never," she whispered back. "This is the best day ever." Music began to play. Strange, beautiful music that blended human and Velrani instruments. The crowd fell silent. Nira and Kira entered the hall. They wore matching ceremonial robes, white with silver patterns that caught the light. Their bioluminescent markings glowed brightly, Kira's gold and Nira's blue. As they walked, their patterns began to pulse in the same rhythm, like two hearts beating as one. Tejo's breath caught in his throat. He had never seen anything so beautiful. They reached him and stopped. The music faded. Elder Villani stood before them, acting as the ceremony leader. "Today we join 3 lives into one bond," she said. "A triangle of souls, a promise that will last beyond time." She turned to the twins. "Do you, Nira and Kira, choose this human as your bonded?" "We choose him," they said together. "Do you accept all that he is? His short life, his strange humor, his human heart?" "We accept him," they said, "completely." Elder Villani turned to Tejo. "Do you, Park Tejo, choose these Velrani as your bonded?" "I choose them," Tejo said. His voice was strong and clear. "Do you accept all that they are, their twin bond, their long lives, their Velrani hearts?" "I accept them." "Completely." Elder Villani nodded. "Then let the bonding begin." The twins stepped closer to Tejo. Their bioluminescent patterns began to glow brighter. The light spread from their bodies toward him, warm and gentle. It surrounded him like an embrace. This was the Velrani part of the ceremony. Their light was touching his soul, joining with him. Tejo felt something shift inside him, a connection he had never felt before. He could sense Kira's joy and Nira's calm certainty. He could feel their love for him, warm and total. He reached into his pocket and pulled out 2 small objects. They were pieces of his grandmother's ring, the only thing he had from his family on Earth. He had asked a jeweler to divide it into 2 parts. "This is for you," he said, giving one piece to Kira. "And this is for you," he said, giving the other to Nira. In human tradition, rings mean forever. This ring was my grandmother's. She gave it to my mother, and my mother gave it to me. Now I give it to you." Kira's eyes filled with tears. Even Nira looked moved. "You divided your family's ring for us," Nira said. "You're my family now," Tejo replied. "Both of you." They put the ring pieces on chains around their necks, where they hung close to their hearts. Elder Villani smiled. "The bond is complete." The crowd began to cheer. Humans clapped, and Velrani made a high singing sound of joy. The hall filled with celebration. Tai-Ho looked at his bonded partners. Kira was laughing and crying at the same time. Nira was smiling her rare smile that he loved so much. He pulled them both into an embrace. "We did it," Kira whispered. "We're family," Nira added. "We're home," Tejo said. The celebration lasted for hours. There was food and music and dancing. Humans taught Velrani their dances, and Velrani taught humans theirs. Elder Villani even danced once, surprising everyone. Hana found Tai-Ho during a quiet moment. "So," she said, "how does it feel to be bonded?" Tejo thought about it. "Strange, good, like something that was missing is finally there." "I'm happy for you," she hugged him. "You deserve this. Thank you for pushing me to go to that cultural exchange event." Hana laughed. "Best decision I ever made." 1 year later. Tai-Ho walked through the corridors of Horizon Gate with Nira on one side and Kira on the other. They were going to a meeting with a delegation from a distant Velrani colony. In the past year, Tai-Ho had become known throughout Velrani space. He was the human who had bonded with twins, the bridge between species. He gave talks about human culture and answered questions about why humans lived the way they did. It was more work than he expected, but it was also more rewarding. "Are you nervous?" Kira asked as they approached the meeting room. "A little," Tejo admitted. "I always am before these things." "You'll do well," Nira said. "You always do." They entered the meeting room. The Velrani delegates stood to greet them. One of them, a young female with bright green patterns, approached Tejo with curiosity. "You are the human," she said, "the one who bonded with twins." "That's me." "How did it happen? How did you meet them?" Tejo smiled. He had told this story many times now. "They asked if I was single," he said, "and I made a joke." The delegate looked confused. "A joke?" "I said I was tragically, hopelessly single. I didn't know what it meant in their culture." "And they courted you because of that?" "They courted me despite that." He looked at Nira and Kira. "They saw through my joke to what I really was, lonely, scared, wanting to connect but not knowing how." Kira stepped forward. "He was the worst communicator we had ever met." "His jokes were terrible," Nira added. "Still are," Kira said. The delegate looked back and forth between them, confused but fascinated. "Then why did you choose him?" Kira smiled. "Because when he stopped joking, he was the most honest person we had ever known, and because he made us laugh." "Laughter is important?" the delegate asked. "Laughter is everything," Tejo said. "Humans joke because we're scared, but we also joke because we love. We joke to connect, to comfort, to say things we can't say any other way." He put his arms around his bonded partners. "I made a joke the day I met them. Worst joke I ever made." Kira leaned into him. "Best joke you ever made?" Nira nodded. "Most fortunate joke." The delegate still looked confused, but she was smiling now too. That was the effect they had on people. Tejo, Nira, and Kira. They showed that differences could be bridges instead of walls, that love could grow in the strangest places, that home was not a planet or a station. Home was the people who chose you. That night, Tejo stood at the window of the quarters he shared with his bonded partners. They were behind him, talking softly about the day's events. He looked out at the stars. Earth was out there somewhere. So was the yellow star where the Velrani homeworld had been. But he didn't feel homesick anymore. He turned back to Kira and Nira. They looked up at him with love in their eyes. "What are you thinking?" Kira asked. Tejo smiled. "I'm thinking I'm the luckiest human in the galaxy." "Because you bonded with us?" Nira asked. "Because I'm not single anymore." He grinned. "And that's no joke." Kira laughed. Nira rolled her eyes but smiled. And in the warm light of their quarters, surrounded by the people he loved, Tejo knew he was exactly where he belonged. Home.